Welcome to another episode of On the Couch with McNeill Real Estate. My name is Janet and today I am joined by Sherri Makepeace from Makepeace & Co, helping businesses become certified for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, the NDIS. So welcome, Sherri.
Thank you, Janet. Thanks for the opportunity to come along today to talk about my business. It's a really great initiative of McNeill Real Estate and I really appreciate the opportunity to share what I do with you all.
That's fantastic. Thank you. We're looking forward to it. So first of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, so I've basically worked in the human services sector for about 20 years as a freelance project manager. I've worked in Aboriginal remote communities way out up the back in Wentworth, and I actually started out in a little place called Denelliquin.
Yes, little Denny.
Yes.
Yes.
And through my time of working through the sector, I worked for New South Wales State Government, managed massive homelessness action plan projects across the Riverina Murray, and just recently I've worked for Wire in Melbourne, which you may have heard of.
Yep.
Yeah, and just most recently for the DHHS in Dandenong.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of my history of working in the sector, and probably what sort of initiated me to move into my own business. So I was basically working with services at DHHS, like NDIS services, and helping them to onboard and get used. Well, they originally had to comply with the Victorian human service standards, so I was working with services through that port, and then basically after that they've now transitioned to the Commonwealth, so it's a whole new ball game for everybody.
Interesting. And it's one that I guess a lot of people don't know, or might want to sort of be involved in but don't know how to do that. So I guess this leads me to the question is, obviously you run this successful business, Makepeace & Co. Tell us sort of how it was born and the actual reason behind why you started your own business.
Yeah, certainly. The way that it all came about was, I guess, I initially, as I mentioned, I was working with DHHS and helping services to align their policies to be compliant with standards to be able to deliver services. From that point, I decided to do my lead auditing diploma, and I've signed up contracts to work with PricewaterhouseCoopers. So basically I do auditing of services of the two arms of the business. There's the auditing of the services to see if they're compliant and being able to sign them off as being able, being compliant. And then the other side of the business is basically I can support agencies to also get ready for their audit. I can't audit services that I've helped.
No, because it's not independent.
Exactly, but I can, if I can support agencies, and I feel, for me, I see a lot of opportunity to be able to support businesses to be the best that they can be, to be able to deliver services to people with disability who are actually out there looking for the best service. So with the transition of the funding to the Commonwealth, it's basically given people with disability a lot more choice. Around who they can actually work with and what services they want and what they want to do with their lives, which means that it sort of, now they've got control of their funding, they can basically use services from anywhere that they wish.
Great.
Agencies or businesses don't have to be registered with NDIS for some clients. It gets very complicated, as you can imagine. But there are a lot of participants under NDIS that they do need to use NDIS registered services to be able to get what they need.
Benefit.
Exactly. It's a fairly, it's a challenging space because services, a lot of commercial sort of businesses are now moving into that social sector side of the world, and it is very bureaucratic. There's a lot of policies that are behind our certification. That means they need to have really robust kind of complaints management systems, really robust incident management systems. They also need to have great work health and safety and excellent HR processes in place. Obviously, all staff need to have had their screening.
So the police checks. Working with children?
Working with children. In Victoria, they are going to get a national screening up and running, but at the moment we're still under the Victorian standard, which is that anybody needs to have a screening, what they call DWES, which is Disability Worker Exclusion Scheme. So if there's been any history that people can't, that they've had any poor history, they may not be able to work in that sector.
So sounds complicated.
It is really super complicated, and I think that's a great point,
yes.
Janet, because it's a really difficult space for
yes.
businesses to be moving into.
Yes.
And I guess that's where Makepeace and Co comes in.
And can explain and make it a lot easier for people to sort of navigate that little process to make sure that they can provide the best service for their clients.
That's exactly right. And there's a lot of things on the net. There's a lot of sort of like, oh, you can buy these policies, but for me, a system is not about policies. A system is about having the policy and the backup sort of processes in place that actually support it. You need to be able to ensure that you're able to ensure that your clients understand what your policies and processes are. So there's a lot of work that happens aside from just the policies. So I like to work really closely with the agencies and making sure that what they're doing through their certification process is actually useful for them, not only for their NDIS participants, but also as a quality assurance system in their business that they can use for all their clients and hopefully grow and improve their services to everybody.
That sounds amazing, absolutely amazing. So, I think I've asked, or I think you've answered this question, that you specialise in working with the NDIS services and businesses registering. I guess, what is the actual NDIS? What does that mean? To someone who's not, I guess, disabled, we hear on the radio all the time about, NDIS this and NDIS that. What actually is it? What does it do?
So NDIS is the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which is funding that's provided now by the Commonwealth. And the funding is decided by the NDIA, the National Disability Insurance Agency, for clients around how much funding they're eligible to have based on their own personal circumstances. So the funding used to basically go through services, but now it goes through the clients themselves. So they now are empowered to be able to make decisions about what they want to do with their funding packages that they're receiving. So is that like getting home help or getting a motor vehicle changed so that they can drive it? What other sort of things can someone actually use the money for? And that's a really great question, because I think that's what's actually happening now, is that people are actually going, well, what else can we do? Like, because there's so many opportunities now. So some of the businesses that I've been speaking to, that I've been supporting to be compliant with the NDIS is the NDIS standards is builders. So they may be going to do some work, maybe put a ramp
alterations,
in. It might be an architect who actually has to design that. There's quite a few therapeutic support people. It could be people who provide yoga or dancing, and they want to ensure that they've got a place that is welcoming for people with NDIS participants. So once upon a time, it was more like the home help, which is they're all still there, absolutely strong, running really strong. But there are now opportunities for other people to think, well, maybe I could.
How can I help? That sounds amazing. So I guess part of you sort of helping businesses become certified. What's involved in that process? What do you actually do? So if a business, let's say, I'm a real estate, but let's say I was a builder, for example, how do you actually work with that person to get them certified? What are you looking to do? What do they have to implement? How do you do that?
Excellent. Great question. So basically, as we mentioned before, it is very confusing, and it's not a one-size-fits-all, because if you're a company structure, you might be required to do a different type of certification than if you're a sole trader. There's things called verification audits and certification, and that is always up for discussion as well about, it's just sort of an evolving landscape. And really, the NDIS is really the only person who can make that determination about what kind of audit they will require. But I have been working with some smaller, even lawn mowing companies that are wanting to be registered, and what they're needing is what I call the Big Four. So really robust HR system, an excellent complaints management system, a really robust incident management system, just a process around what actually happens and how you review it, and how you look for trends and analyse the incidents that have occurred, and how you can then, I guess, adopt that into a continuous improvement process.
Yes.
And then there's the work health and safety, so the risk management system. Yep. So there's this thing that the NDIS called the rule of proportionality. So if you are a massive multinational, well, not multinational, but like a national organisation that's got a whole heap of participants, or you've got a whole heap of staff, they're kind of what the expectations would be for an organisation like that, compared to a sole trader wanting to do some lawn mowing.
Yes.
It's very different, and it's very clear to auditors that we can make those determinations, you know, and so obviously there's a level of sophistication around the actual policies and procedures. They have a standard that they need to meet, because we need to ensure the safety of our participants that are actually engaging these supports.
Yes.
But it's also about understanding that small businesses are small businesses, and everyone is trying to do the best that they can.
That's right. Yep.
And because when you're audited, it can be an annual thing. So this year they might do a full certification. Next year might be just a surveillance. But they will often put in a report, basically opportunities for improvement.
Okay, so that's great. And that's probably from a business point of view, that is good to know where they can make improvements, because obviously, you know, everyone who's in business wants to A, stay in business, and B, make sure that they're doing the best they can for the people who employ them. So
exactly, yeah. And I think that's a really great point, because it is based around the NDIS participants, but some of these systems are actually sort of very similar to the ISO 9001 quality standards. So it offers an opportunity for people to really go, okay, how can we use our complaints to make our business better? And so it doesn't have to just apply to the participants.
It's not a negative either.
Exactly,
No,
because
it is an opportunity to learn and expand and improve.
Exactly.
No, that sounds fantastic. So I'm just wondering, how do people find you?
Yes, so I can be sort of all over the place auditing, so I can be a little bit hard to track down in terms of physically, but I can be contacted on 0439 659 232 at most times. If I'm in a meeting or audit, I'll of course get back to people. But my website's also up, so anyone can take a look at that and contact me through that. That's www.makepeace&co, like all one word, lowercase, and A&D being A&D, and co.com. So I'd be really pleased to hear. I'm very keen to support Mornington Peninsula businesses. It's where I live, and I like to sort of help to support us grow. So
that's fantastic. That's brilliant. And now, Sherri, when you're not actually working, what do you do?
Well, it's a great question. I'm a potter. So,
a potter? As in like clay pots?
That's correct.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm a member of the Dramana Potters Club, and I head down there Wednesday night with all of my friends, and
fabulous.
when I'm in town, and get some fish and chips on the pier at Dramana and head off to pottery. So that's what I love to do in my spare time. So we've got a little studio set up at home where I sort of but obviously away from the house, it's very dirty.
That's fantastic. Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you for coming in and meeting with us today, Sherri. It's been brilliant learning more about NDIS and how businesses can get involved in the NDIS. If you do need any help with that, Sherri, please give her a call, contact her and organise some assistance. But that's the end of another segment of On the Couch with McNeill Real Estate. So thank you.
Thank you, Jen. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, Sherri.